गोविंददेशिकम् उपास्य शिराय भक्त्यां तस्मिन् स्थिते निजमाहिम्नि विदेहमुक्त्याम् अद्वैत्यभाष्यम् उपकल्पदिशो विजीत्यां काञ्चीपुरे स्थितम् अवापसा शङ्कराय शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाषकृतं वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मत् आचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परा. With benediction to Adi Shankaracharya and to his lineage up to the 69th Guru of the venerated Kamakoti Peetam, Pujya Sri Jayendra Saraswati Swamigal, in whose benign and august presence this function is being held, I rise to address you today. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this pleasant and solemn function organized this evening to commemorate the Platinum Jubilee of the life and times of one of the holiest and revered saints of our times, Pujya Sri Jayendra Saraswati Swamigal. These celebrations, which began in the month of July 2009, have travelled the length and breadth of the country, and today have come to this blessed land of Lord Srinivasa. The Tirumala hills are the second oldest ancient rock mountains in the world. From times immemorial, kings and dynasties have preserved, protected, perpetuated, and strengthened the divinity of not only the temple but the area around. Be it the Pallavas up to the 2nd century AD, or the Cholas from the 10th century BC to the 4th century AD, or even earlier of the Vijayanagaram dynasty of 17th century BC, the kings of these dynasties have preserved, protected, and contributed to the goodness of Tirumala. In fact, the golden age of Vijayanagaram dynasty was during this period when Krishnadevaraya not only gave lot of gold ornaments and jewelry to the Lord, but also constructed the extended shrines to Lord Venkateshwara. Such was the importance of this place to Krishnadevaraya that he made Chandragiri, not far from here, the second capital of Krishnadevaraya. That is the holiest presence of the place where the celebrations are being held today. The divinity and the halo of this place is just not confined to Tirumala, but spreads far and wide to all over the globe. It is in such a blessed land that we have these celebrations today. In a sense, we should be grateful to gods, for it is their grace, but for which this function would not have been held. What is it the great Lord Srinivasa cannot do? Mukam karoti vacham pangum labhyate girim yat kripa tamaham bande paramanandam madhavam. The Upanishad says, Isavasyam idam sarvam yat kinchad jagatyam jagat. Whatever exists, wherever exists, is permeated by the same divine force. Raja Bhartahari in his Subhashitas classifies human beings into 4 categories. Ete satpurushaha, parartha gatakaha, samanyastu uddamabhutaha, te api manusha rakshasaha, parahitam swartham nindandiye. And then Bhartahari goes to conclude by saying, te ke na jani mahe. He speaks of the first category of people who do good to others even at the cost of their own good. Te satpurushaha, they are the best amongst people. There is the second category of people who do good to themselves but at the same time do good to others. Third is a category that Bhartahari describes as manusha rakshasaha. They are a demon amongst men who do good to themselves at the cost of others' good. Last is a category where Bhartahari himself flounders and says, Te ke na jani mahe, I myself do not know of this category of people who neither do good to themselves nor do they do good to others. And this is the category of people who live the life of a cattle. It is the pinnacle of goodness that Bhartahari had referred to in the first category, to which the sage of Kanchi belongs to. It is this goodness of the sage that we are celebrating today. The English literature also carries a similar anecdote, very similar to what Bhartahari says. It says there are 3 categories of people in the world. People who turn up their sleeves, people who turn up their nose, and people who never turn up. Into the first category, people who turn up their sleeves, people who go beyond the call of duty, people who stretch themselves, who are on 24/7 for the good of the world. Into that category of people belongs the sage of Kanchi. It is this effort of the sage of Kanchi over the last 75 years, and more particularly the 57 years that he has occupied the pontificate of the Kamakoti Peetam, that we are celebrating today. What is it that we can speak of the Guru on an occasion like this? Of the 1 million kilometers that he has travelled the length and breadth of the country, unmindful of the stress and stress that has come on to him. From Amarnath in one end, Leh in another corner, Pashupatinath in Nepal to the other end, Kanchipuram on one end, and the end, Dhanushkodi on another end. It is not once that he has travelled the length and breadth of the country. 3 times by foot he has travelled the length and breadth of this country, a feat which is not even credited to Adi Shankara. When people earn for a glance, leave alone a darshan of the Guru, he is at their doorsteps. It is by reaching out to the common and the poor people of the country that the sage of Kanchi has stood out from the rest of the crowd. In Marathi we say, Kelyane Deshatana Pandita Maitri Sabeta Sanchar Shastra Grantha Vilochana Manuja Chaturya Yete Sefar. When an ordinary person travels, he gains substantially because nature is full of knowledge that it gives to him. But when a saint travels, it is double bliss. He not only gains from nature, but he also radiates all that he gets to people who come into contact with him, who benefit from the travel. It is this travel of the Jagat Guru over his 75 years, 3 times the length and breadth of the country by foot, that we are celebrating today. Arnold Toynbee, the historian of historians, once said, if one chapter in the world history has to be written, and if it were to begin with a Western anecdote, it cannot but end with an Indian ending, except if the world were to self-destroy itself and annihilate the human race. Rudyard Kipling, once addressing the students of the university in America, said, generations to come will scarce believe, he said, of a person who had ever tread on this earth. One who would care not for name, fame and wealth, then you will understand how poor you are in his company. In such a poverty of thought that we are experiencing today when we are in the company of the Jagat Guru. It is this Yuga where people live for themselves. It is this Kali Yuga where people come to live only for themselves. Yasmin jivati jivanti dina mitra bandavaha parasparam jivitam tasmai atmartho kona jivati. Atmartho kona jivati. Who does not live for himself? Everyone lives for himself. But the Subhashita says, only that person lives who lives for the benefit of others. And from that point of view, the sage of Kanchi over these 75 years has lived for the welfare of humankind. It is this effort of his that we are celebrating today. What is it on an occasion like this that we can ask of the Guru when we are celebrating 75 years? It is just not in the number of years that we make a difference. It's how well you live that would make the difference. Parivatini samsare mritakova na jayate sajataha yasya jatena yati vamsham samunitam. In this transient world, who will escape the cycle of birth and death? But that life is worthwhile, which works for the upliftment of humanity. Of the sancharas that I spoke about, that he had travelled the length and breadth of the country, it is just not a padayatra that he has been doing. Wherever he has travelled, he has left behind permanent edifices, monuments that are not only remembrance of his visit to that place, ones that serve the society itself. 500 and odd institutions in the country serve the cause of Sanatana Dharma, thanks to the initiative that the sage has taken during his lifetime. In a sense, he exactly chronicles what Wolf Mozart said 250 years ago, that I care not for the praise and blame of anyone, I am dictated by my conscience. And that's what the sage of Kanchi has been all about. He has shelved himself from the shackles of bondage of a Mathathipati, of a Pithathipati, the rituals and the dogma of the religion that come to be associated with the Mat. He has redefined monasteries in the 21st century. He has become a walking god of the 21st century. The senior jeer of Tirupati, in one of the sadhas that was held in Tirumala, lower Tirumala, in the year 1970, he said, whenever righteousness is on the decline, the Lord will appear. That's what the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati bharata. And then he says, Sambhavami yuge yuge. The jeer explains this thought by saying, it is not necessary that the Lord should take an avatara and come onto this earth. The 9 avatars that he has taken and the Kali avatara which is manifest before us today, the Lord can also appear before us in the form of human beings and do that work. And one such human form that the Lord has adopted is Sri Kamakoti Shankaracharya, set the senior year of Tirupati in the year 1970. On an occasion like this, it is expected of the devotees to pay their tributes to His Holiness. There are hundreds and thousands of saints in this country. Why is it that we reserve all this goodness for our saint alone? If there is one field in this entire country where there is no legislation or there is no rationing, it is sainthood. Ekaschandrat tamohanti nacha tasa ganani cha. There are countless number of stars in the sky. It is only one moon that dispels the darkness. There can be hundreds and thousands of people who can adore the saffron robe. There are very few amongst them who can be counted, who promote and spread divinity. Into that category of greatness of people comes the sage of Kanchi. On an occasion like this, the best tribute that we can pay to him is to follow all that he says, follow the path of righteousness and the dharma that is enshrined by him in all the addresses that he is giving. Na jatuhu na kamat na bayat na lobat dharmatyajet jivitasyopi. The greatest tribute that we can pay to him is, even at the cost of our own lives, let us not forsake dharma. May the Jagannatha Kamakoti Kamakshi shed her grace on him. Jivet Sharata Shatam. May he live 100 years. When he lives 100 years, he will continue to bless all of us, so that we will gain from the longevity that the Guru will get. May the Jagannatha and Lord Srinivasa also shed their grace on us, so that we can draw a leaf from the life of nobility of the sage and make our own life sublime. Thank you and God bless you all.